So I'll start out, and I think I know everybody around the table. Even though I don't have my coveralls on, I might trick you a little bit, okay? So since I got done treating cows, I've spent a lot of my time with this water quality group, Friends of Northern Lake Champlain. And I think that, and I know that the Friends has been involved with the town of Fairfield in the past. In 2014, we wrote up with Stone Environmental, we wrote up a stormwater management plan for the town. And I remember at the time we started working on some projects and some of on the roads. But what was left out of those stormwater management plans were some of the lakeshore areas in the area. And it was brought to our attention by a DEC employee that they have successfully completed a couple of lakeside lake watershed plans in the state. I think Lake Elmore and Lake Eden are the two where they've done already, and so they've got a model on those, and they want to expand that and provide this to some of the other lakes and pond associations in the state. Like, you think of the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain, and you think of our work on the lake shore and the northern arm of Lake Champlain, but a big part of what we're working on rolls down the Missisquoi River, which is where the outlet of the Fairfield Pond goes to, is to the Missisquoi. So there's a natural association. We've got the capacity to go out and do these watershed or these water plans. So if you go back 30 or 40 years, there were some problems at Fairfield Pond, and there's been improvement since that time. But in the last 10 years, there's been, they've noticed that they've measured an increased amount of phosphorus in Fairfield Pond. It's not at a crisis level, but it's at a point where there's an increase, so it's time to look at it and let's take care of problems before they really become out of control. So in the last year, we applied for a grant to Lake Champlain Basin Program. We were awarded $24,635 to do this study. It's not costing the town of Fairfield anything. It came from this EPA-backed money to go ahead and do this grant. So we've gotten to know the folks at the Fairfield Pond Recreation Association. In fact, we went to their annual summer meeting last year, and we let them know this project was going to happen. We've got their support, and they really want to work through it. So what this watershed plan is going to come up with is the part that I'd like to have Allison Spacek. Allison is our AmeriCorps member who's serving as our assistant project coordinator. But I'd like to have her talk about the plan. What we're going to wind up doing is we're looking for projects, and we also look for financing for the projects. We don't just point fingers and make a list for you guys to solve. We also know where the grant money is and where to apply and where to put this to work. So we try to bring resources to the town. But we'll look at just best management practices, whether it's on private or public property. We'll look at the roads, and if there are areas that are producing a lot of sediment that's going into the pond, we'll bring attention to that, and like I said, resources. We'll look at the stream, the culverts on the roads around to see if they're adequately sized or if they can be a source of problem. If there's areas where stream or wetland can be restored. And then we really want to do a lot of outreach to the people that live around the lake and with their own private residences, to the people that want to do things and want to cooperate. So in order to the last part of this is we're going to come up with up to 5 projects that we bring to 30% design, and then you could go on with that, go to a full design and construction grant. And and I'm sure you understand the grant writing process and how this works, but this is the very start, is to identify it, and come up with some of these 30% designs, and it'd be the way to start out. So now I'm gonna have, without what I've said, Allison's gonna tell you what we're really gonna do.
Yeah, so I'm Allison, thanks Ken. This is a Lake Watershed Action Plan, so LWAP is the acronym. Like Ken mentioned, it's been completed at a couple other small lakes throughout the state, and I'm sure it's a process that's going to continue for other ponds and lakes around. So we have hired a consulting firm, Fitzgerald Environmental Associates, run by Evan Fitzgerald, and they're out of Colchester. So they are going to be doing all the technical aspects of the assessment. And then we are responsible for the project management. We wrote the grant to do the assessment. We'll do all the reporting, all the follow-up, and then a lot of the outreach too. So we talked about engaging with the Pond Rec Association and with all you here, and definitely following up with any questions that you have. And with anyone who lives or interacts with the pond, we'd love to, have a discussion with them if they're interested in what we're doing, or they have suggestions or problem areas that they've seen. But this project is focused on the entire pond's watershed. So it's going to analyze everything from the pond itself. So maybe going on a boat tour and seeing some of the properties, monitoring for invasive species, maybe doing some other testing and sampling like that. It's going to involve looking at all the tributaries that feed into the pond, and what kind of issues surround that with erosion and with stormwater runoff. Ken mentioned that excess nutrients is a really big issue that the goal of this project is to address. And then, so that's a lot of the field assessment. There'll be plenty of what we call desktop assessment, and that's looking at geographic information system, GIS maps, and all the data that we can get through that to get a clear picture of everything that's going on in that watershed. And the final report will result in 3 to 5 projects that address water quality. So it could be something from a swale on the side of the road to a rainbow or something like that, that's probably going to soak up excess water, filter the water before it reaches the pond. And I think that's kind of the whole summary of the project. The timeline is, the field assessments will probably take place this summer and fall. There'll be a lot of review of the data over the winter time, and probably by the spring we'll have some potential projects in place that we'd like to pursue, and we'll be involved with whatever follow-up is necessary with that as well. So, did I forget anything?
No, we'd love to have questions, or we mainly want to bring the information to you so you know that what we're doing out here, we are not regulatory. You won't see numbers on the side of our vehicles as we're coming in. And like I said, we help start the process so you can get the resources.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. Can you go over that 30% design thing one more time? So,
Yeah, isn't that fun to go through the process to really get to a construction project? Is first identify the problems, and that's what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to find them, and then the 30% design is just to identify it, and it would be like a construction project that you would work out with an engineer, but it's not really ready to go to a contractor, or somebody, in a tractor seat or excavator. That this is really, that all the angles and all the materials and everything aren't all worked out. But there are some general ideas of what it can be. And the important thing to put into this is how much phosphorus are we going to retain by doing this? That's a key number with this clean water service provider model that's unfolding right now. I've got a seat on 3 of the basins with that. We're trying to decide right now, how are we going to assign projects? And as I sit and listen, what they really want to hear is how much phosphorus are we keeping out of these water bodies? And that's what we're going to have when we go ask for money and to get it rated, so we know which projects have got the highest priority and which ones will get funded.
How do you determine that, Ken?
How do you determine that? There are formulas that the Department of Environmental Conservation have worked out. They're very well worked out for agriculture. That was something that has been worked out for a long time. We were able to bring that to the legislature for the passage of 2015 for Act 64. We were able to really show the really cost-effective measures that farmers put on the ground and why they deserve so much support. And it's an area that we're just catching up to. I'm sure you guys are really heavy into roads and road construction. I think that's an area they're still learning. They're still developing more information there. And so it's a work in progress.
The other thing I'll add too about the 30% design is that there's kind of a process for a lot of these clean water projects, and oftentimes it's an assessment that results in a preliminary engineering design for whatever project you want to do. Then you have to go back and apply for final design funding, and then you apply for implementation funding. So it's kind of, you check the boxes and move through. And that's just kind of the process that's been set up for these clean water projects.
Is there anything on the table for removing what's there now? Cleaning up what's there in the pond already?
That's the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain started out wanting to remove the causeway between West Swanton and Alberg. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure you remember the soft-shelled turtles that were living in them, and then that stopped that whole process.
Are they still safe?
Are they still safe? Yep. They also found out that they also can adjust.
Yeah.
They can live with this. But what happened was that with the originally it was what we were called the Friends of Missisquoi Bay, and that was what they were interested in. And what we were through a large international joint commission, they came up with before we'll go in and put in alum, before to stratify the phosphorus so we can remove it. First, you got to prove that you have stopped the new phosphorus from coming in, because there's no sense in cleaning up until you stop what's going in. And we've made a lot of progress. We're not there yet, so we're not going in and doing treatments. If you were going to do a treatment, I think I think Fairfield Pond is the right size to do. But what works? I mean, look, like Lake Carmine struggles. For 3 years they've had a system in there, and it hasn't. And they just, for one reason or other, they run into problems. So they've actually cleaned up a couple lakes so far, but they're, you're talking 10 and 20 acre ponds. You're not talking, lakes. So we're not going to get to that point for a while.
Yep.
So how long will your study take to find out what our main problems are, like the roads or stuff like that?
It probably by the timeline was next spring is when all the data will be analyzed, and there'll be a list of priorities for areas and for projects that have been suggested by our consulting engineers. And then, I don't know, Ken, is there community meeting similar to,
There will be,
yeah.
I live in the town of Georgia. The town of Georgia, we did a shoreline assessment. We did that last year. We came up with 3 projects. We have just submitted one of them for full design, which we got. We just found out today that we got that award to go to full design on our town beach. So then we'll have the full design, and then hopefully this winter, I'm gonna be able to apply and get a construction grant and actually put the project in next year. But that's kind of the timeline, that's kind of how these things go.
So list of projects and priority areas probably early next year.
So I'm sure you're aware, Ken, but the regional planning, Mo and Kathy could, but we've already done, and I've met the people doing the volunteer or staff doing assessment of roads and stormwater around the pond. It's already been done. It's on the, it's on the Northwest Regional Planning. So you're aware of that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, and I think that map that was produced by a lot of those assessments was in the proposal that our engineers submitted to us. So that was kind of an example of some of the data that they would be using for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where these start. They start with a study of what has already been presented. They went back to that stormwater management plan that we wrote up in 2014, and then they built on that. They want to build on that information.
Well, I'll send you an email if you want to do the pond tour, because between Dave, Brian, and Ron, we could probably figure out and get right. So.
Okay. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, pick a good day.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
thank you.
we'll definitely be in touch with the project as it comes along. So
Okay, we're here every 2 Mondays.
All right, we'll be back.
Thank you.
thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So Julie Wolcott is here from East Fairfield and from the community center to pose some projects and possibly identify a plan for ARPA funding.
Yeah, I mean, first I want to thank you guys for.
You can sit with us, you don't have to stand in the corner, come sit.
Thank you for working with us on the civilian project. We're getting there, we haven't signed a contract. We're close.
Were you able to figure out a bidder throughout
Yes.
that pile of
Yeah.
stuff? Good.
Yeah, I think there was some clarity once Jim looked at it.
Good.
And he's had a preliminary meeting with Jim, and I just worked on details, design. Great, but I was asked maybe 3 or 4 months ago by Dave if we might, the community center might have some projects that would qualify for ARPA funds. So we put together a list of a couple projects that we think are capital improvements to the building or to the property that are worth the town's investment. And just are hopeful that you will consider them. I did want to ask if any of you would like to come to the center. I don't know if any of you have been there for years to see the inside, except you.
Come on. Show up with a truck full of food, she kicks you out. All right.
I'm sorry. But especially on Tuesday, I would invite you all to come and visit anytime between noon and 3. I'm usually there, and we've got a lot going on. So let me know if you want to come visit anytime. I can meet you there too. So the first project on the list is the west end of the building.
Is this listed priority?
Yes, yeah. And some projects were suggestions for other entities of the town.
I guess the first thing I wanted to know is who do you wound up with a bid for that?
For that,
Yeah,
James
that's what
Goulet.
my main thing was. to find out.
James Goulet.
He did, okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So his bid met all the criteria and
He did, yeah, it was reasonable and reliable. I forget the two R words.
Responsive.
Reasonable and responsive, yeah.
When's he gonna start?
I'm not sure. He's got a deposit on material purchases in hand, and I think it depends on when he can get materials together.
So you're gonna lead with that. We've been waiting on this for a year now. That's good.
A year or more?
Well, I don't know how long you've been
How long?
fighting with that.
You're gonna have, at least, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's been a slow process. I know.
that's quite a, so everything was being equal. I mean, his bid was half of what one was.
Yes, but the bids themselves didn't give a lot of detail.
Okay, they were all over the map.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't bring.
Well, I'm glad he got it, but I was just thinking there was such a
Yeah,
range of
Yeah.
bids on that project.
yeah, and I have no idea what parts of the project other bidders
Yeah.
priced differently.
But that's why sitting down, having a conversation and working out the details.
Yeah.
So he's doing everything.
Yes, yeah, or we'll
They're-
contract it out.
He, or overseeing everything, you
Yes.
say, so.
Yeah.
In his bid, that's all, cause any subcontractor, he has to pay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Jim was pretty happy with it.
yes, I think so.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So back to the ARPA funds. So the west end of the center building was redesigned, I think in the mid-90s, I don't know if anyone can correct me, to be a doctor's office. So it's just there's 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of cubicle exam rooms that are really small and really have very little use except for storage for us. And what we'd like to do with that end is take down the partitioning walls and redesign it so it can be a bigger space for the food shelf and also for kids' camp. There's sometimes conflicts between youth programming and food shelf and community meals because of spaces. And the only big space is next to the kitchen. And it'd be nice to have an alternative space. And the food shelf is growing. We're doing, you probably see 60 to 70 people a week come through. A lot of it is community meals, but there is a lot of traffic that's coming through. So we'd like a better inside design space.
Where do these numbers come from?
So the 20,000 is not well researched.
Okay.
But that would be mostly for some planning, consulting,
Yeah.
planning, and then, figuring out which walls are bearing walls and which
Well,
aren't.
these are really just rough.
That one in particular
Yeah,
is.
okay.
But I could dial down on that a little more.
I was just curious.
Yeah, but it's labor and materials. And then the next one, the preschool playground is actually, there's some detail on that on the second.
Yeah, second page, it's all right there,
On
right?
page 2, yeah. And that is, it's town property. And I don't know if you walk by it, Dave, the preschool playground. The fence is in really poor shape. There's not a lot of structures for preschool kids. And that would be a great asset to the town, I think, to have a safe pre-K through 5 playground. The other playgrounds are 5 through 12. But the equipment there is just too big for little kids to be safe. So that the number on the playground is pretty accurate on the first page. And the raised beds, right now they're made out of hemlock, and they are, I think every one except the ones we built 2 years ago need to be replaced. And we thought it'd be good to do it with cedar, they'd last longer. They are used quite a bit, kind of as demonstration gardens and also for food shelf and for youth programming too.
You'd only need the materials.
And we just need materials, we'll do labor. And the wood, the oven that we have, I don't know if any of you have come to pizza nights, but it's a funky little oven. It's low, it's a backbreaker, it's undersized for the number of pizzas we do. We do 50 to 60 pizzas pizza night. And it's not even really a good prototype. It just wasn't designed well. It doesn't draw well. And I think that, especially with the pavilion being there and the rail trail there, I think that having a properly designed pizza oven could be it's a good fundraiser for the community center. So we can generate, $300 or $400 if we get materials donated. So that was the fourth one.
So what were you planning on doing, building a whole new one?
Yeah.
So who does that?
I'm not sure. That one was designed by a fellow who's not in town anymore. So you'd have to research doing that.
I had signage down too. Do you still have signage on there?
Signage is on there too. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and that I do have quite a bit of detail on.
Okay.
Neither building, the meeting house or the community center, has any signs on it at all to identify what they are. So there is a proposal for signage that would include mounted signs on each building, plus a painted sign on the brick wall that faces Mill Street. And I think it probably is important to identify the buildings at some point. And I think in terms of, Ron, your question about whether they're in priority order, not everyone's priorities are the same. Any questions? And I know you've had a lot of requests for funds and you've put funds out. And there's a lot of demand for these funds just in terms of your budget. And I'm hoping you'll invest in capital improvements that will last more than the budget year. And if you want any more detail, I can get more detail on the West End if you'd like it, and more detail on the oven, which we didn't do yet.
So as a group, you haven't ranked those?
I'm sorry?
As a group, you haven't ranked those?
No.
I guess myself, before I go committing stuff, I'd like to know what's the priorities that they're hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
This is good though. I like having a wish list of things.
Right. But I also like what means the most to the group or
Well,
whatever.
I think some people are coming from different
Everybody's got their own little
different
niche
perspectives.
over there.
Like one person thinks the signage is most important.
The whole total is not that high, really, so, but,
And I guess because I work in the building on Tuesdays, I think the West End is the most important because there needs to be more space.
So the layout now is the food shelf room as you walk in, where the kids and I brought stuff in a couple times on the side. Off to the left of that in the back is the open space off the kitchen.
If you go straight through.
Or straight
Yes.
through,
Yeah.
And
What
then
used to
back
be the
is-
auditorium, is that what you're saying, is this office spaces? What used to be the old auditorium?
It's all broken
Yeah,
up in there.
it's broke up different.
You wouldn't even recognize it as the school building.
Is the kitchen still where it's?
Used to be?
The kitchen is in the center
That's about the only thing that's still
of the
there.
building, and I don't remember.
The
when it
kitchen
was a
used to be off
school.
one side, when we were kids, it was off
The
one side.
kitchen was in the middle on the south side of the building. when that was school.
Now it's in the middle. It's
Okay.
not on a side, it's really in the center.
So that was, like I said, on the south wall, and then the whole middle was
Like an auditorium.
cafeteria or
Right.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And there
Yeah.
was three classrooms.
Yeah, but now there's, just in the west end alone, which is only a third of the building, there's 6 rooms,
Oh.
which are really not serviceable. So my perspective is, I'd like to see that opened up and used better.
Right, and in terms of the ARPA funding, that's kind of to me, that's what we're looking for. What can we make more accessible, more usable? I mean, if a third of that building is split into little offices, do they serve a purpose for any reason anymore? I mean,
They've been storage sites. One holds 2 freezers for the food shelf. 2 are just
space collecting junk.
youth programming, top to bottom, junk. And then a third, we actually put a walk-in cooler that's using most of that room. And that was, we got a couple grants and had labor donated. And that's a really incredible asset.
How many, just rough guess, how many square feet are you talking about?
I'm sorry, I should have that.
No, just, I mean, is it a little 10 by 10 area or is it 20 by?
Of the third of the building?
Is it a third of the building, you think? Or?
I think it's a third of the square
Okay,
foot.
so it's a fair amount of
The
this.
walk-in cooler is gonna stay, right? Or
Yes,
that is-
yeah, it's a
So you
shame.
would just work from there.
From there, yeah.
Mine trigger public safety,
Juice stop is a big word.
just based on the amount of square footage, I don't know if there's sprinklers in the building, but it might trigger other things if you start, depending on the amount.
And that's why you gotta look into it and
Yeah.
figure that out.
Yeah, that number could really be changed depending on if you had to add sprinklers. It could make a big, huge difference.
Yeah, but I think it has fire safety, I forget the title of the person that comes through, has come through.
Fire marshal's been through.
Fire marshal has been through because.
But if you renovate, you
Oh.
might have to bring it up to current codes, so.
Yeah.
just
But I
something
know they've been through for the Alder Blossoms preschool or daycare and then the preschool. So they're,
Is there still a daycare unit?
so
Some
the-
of this-
there's a preschool,
Preschool.
yeah, and that's run through Maple Run. So we do get some rent income from Maple Run.
Yeah, the 3-year-olds are in East Fairfield and the 4-year-olds are in Fairfield.
And Melanie's daughter is the teacher there.
I'm really for this, but I would like to see that first number.
More detail.
Well,
Yeah.
just to make sure you can do it for that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I don't know how you go about getting somebody to estimate it for you, but.
Yeah, I think we probably could
Yeah.
get a general.
You gonna say?
I think it's good. I think it's a good
Jim
project.
Cameron could probably.
Probably do it quickly, yeah.
Would Cameron actually have knowledge? You'd have to sprinkle this thing if you did, of all the projects he's
I would
done.
think of all the projects he's done, he would have that,
You'd have that.
he would be able to find it out.
He'll know the
Fire
All the
safety
buildings he's
will come for free.
renovated or doing
Yeah, fire
renovated.
safety will come for free.
Okay.
Yeah. And we actually are applying for an after-school license for the youth programming, and they'll be involved in that final inspection too. The fire marshal.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's a great list, great detail. Maybe like Ron, you agreed, West End and go to school on that pizza oven. Maybe a little more,
I can get some detail.
yeah, maybe there's a cheaper way to get a better product than going the legacy oven.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying, maybe I've seen a lot of my friends have built pizza ovens and there's better solutions
Yes,
than having a big oven that takes like 4 hours to heat up.
yeah, yeah.
It might be a cheaper, better solution than rebuilding an oven, like a,
Uh-huh,
but I
okay. But I could go back and prioritize this between all of us, but I think people would.
I think it'd be worth, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just
Okay.
get an idea of what
Okay.
everybody's Have everybody blindly vote, you know, these are my top 2 choices.
Yeah, I'll list these 5 things
Because
and have
I'd
them right.
be curious after hearing that
Yeah,
to raise a couple of questions.
yeah. And the preschool playground it really does need a lot of work. So, and I invite you to stop in.
Is that separate? There's only one, or is there 2 playgrounds?
There are 2 playgrounds.
There's
Yeah.
side by side, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they share a fence. Yeah,
Yeah, and the preschool is probably more towards the south side.
yes, yeah. Yeah, the other playgrounds is, we just finished that. Was it last
I'll say that's been there a year or 2 now. It's
Yeah,
really-
upgrading
it's pretty
that.
nice.
year?
Yeah, they put all the bark in and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Some new equipment.
Yeah, yeah. But it's not safe for anyone under 5 because of the size of the structures.
And where do you plan on going down to the creek?
Oh, for that, I know, that was a suggestion from Faith Cassidy, who coordinates the youth program. And I'm not sure if she's explored that, where to go, but it would be off the ball field road somehow.
That's a neat idea. Why not? You got a perfect wildlife
Yeah,
preserve right there in the backyard.
Right.
Take the kids out for a half hour.
yeah,
I mean, it'd be better, be more exploratory if you went across the road and, you know, down by the dam and
Oh,
that
yeah.
sluice way.
Have you walked around some of these
might be a
children?
little more.
I want a short direct path.
Well, that one mowed, it's, you know, that's all town property on that lower side.
It
Is
is
it
too.
2 on the
Part of it, people don't think it is, but
No kidding.
Town when they were talking about doing that dam, the ones that wanted to remove the dam, wasn't it?
yeah, well, even from above the creek where, you know, people have got their little parkway, I think part of that is town property, I think we looked into it. But that's, you know, you got that sluice way, you got the dam, well, you got 2 dams, actually, you got the big one, and
Yeah,
I mean, that sluice way, they used to control the water up from there back to the street when reeds were there.
it's a potential park.
Maybe this quote will better work on your
Let's go to pizza.
So I'll come back next meeting with or should I just communicate with Kathy or what's your?
It's up to you. I mean, I keep making you go back and forth, but this
Yeah.
this is a great list of some place to start. And
It's a
talk
good
about
list. It's a good
Okay.
list.
I think it's a good project.
Okay, well, I'll get a little more detail and try to answer your questions. Thanks for hearing me. So, Meg Patnam was gonna come with me, but she had a championship baseball game to go. Thanks.
It's quite a team.
In Essex.
Oh.
Her nephew plays.
Gotcha.
For Essex.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That it? On down.
Would anybody else like one?
I'll take one since you're up. Other people will get it, but.
Gentlemen, Kirk Artist.
You know everybody?
Pretty much.
I'm gonna
I don't know you, I don't think Dave, I'm Kirk Artist. I used to live here in town, but I built a house in Franklin. I work for Board Guard Equipment. I've sold the town a few pieces of equipment.
Thank you.
I finally got them out of town.
Rooted me right now. So anyways, got a call from Tom a month ago or so when I was sick, so I've been working with Morris and I know your backhoe's in trouble. So this morning I made a deal with a really good customer of mine. His father passed away, owned a John Deere backhoe, and I wanted to make that offer to you guys before I sell it to someone else. So that's why I'm here tonight. It's a 2016 410L loader backhoe. It's one owner, bought it brand new. It's 4-wheel drive, cab, extend the hoe. It's got air conditioning, radio, air seat. It's got a front hydraulic coupler with a 4-in-1 clam bucket on the front, and it's got a HELAC power till with a digging bucket and a cleanup bucket on the back. just turned, well, it's almost 800 hours, 798 hours on the meter. It's been stored inside, not a bit of rust on it. It's got 80% rubber.
You said he was a salesman, right? I've heard this one somewhere.
Drove to
Oh, I'm dead serious.
Sunday.
I'm dead serious.
That's amazing.
I sold him a lot of equipment. He bought like 4 821s from me, and he's got a 350 case excavator. And his father passed away, and this was his machine. It was like 90 years old, and that's no lie. So I could sell that to you guys for $87,000, and I could give you $24,000 for your trade the way it is, and I'll service the engine and I'll deliver it for that price. So basically, it only costs you $63,000 to upgrade to that machine.
What kind of warranty comes with it?
30 feet or 30 seconds.
You've extended it.
I have pictures on my phone if you want to see pictures of it. It's basically like brand new, pretty close. Got front fenders and all nine. So I wanted to come tonight because I have a few other people interested in used backhoes right now, and I figured since I sold you equipment in the past that maybe you'd be interested in this one.
Roughly how much is that unit new right today?
Well, a 590, which is the same as the case 590. I gave you a quote on a 590. I think it was like
It's over in the office.
it's like 140-ish.
I get lost on the models. Was this about the same? Is this
Same exact size, but a newer model.
Right.
So-
But is this the same? Is this the size that we're looking for? Tom, the height, the horsepower and power.
It's the same thing as what you got.
Okay.
It's a
the same.
410.
Okay.
It's a 410, and that's what you have.
Okay.
But just a newer machine. It's a
Okay.
2016.
Right.
So it's 10 years newer. They owned in 2006.
Yeah, I think it's a four.
No color. Yeah.
It's sweet inside and out.
Yeah.
What was that last quote that you gave us, Mo,
That's-
for?
That was John Deere.
That's this.
Nortrack gave it to us. You guys said we're gonna look at it.
Inside.
Me, James,
Yes,
end up
well, you can see from the outside.
It's there ain't a spot rust on it, Tom, anywhere. It's got pilot control. It's got a push button dash. So the dash is a push button inside.
Yeah.
So you push the
Out of that goes only
green button, and then it's a code. I think it's 1111. And then you push another button, and then hit the green button again. It starts.
Nortrack's with 31.
So it's keyless basically.
So what's
Tired.
I can't remember that one. But I just
Yeah,
got a
like,
big
I
bucket.
mean, I could put them at 80%.
Clean
you know,
bucket, no twist.
so what's
The one down the Nortrack, one down like that.
yeah.
Just a regular front bucket.
Well, how much time do you need?
I would like to kind of discuss it afterwards, I guess, but
You,
I guess we could probably know by tomorrow, by tonight, I guess. I would think.
you can, if you call me tomorrow, I'll give you till tomorrow. And then before I bring it to somebody else, because I'm sure I'm gonna bring it to somebody else and they're gonna say, I'll take it. I talked to the guy today, his new machine that he's getting is, he's trading it for a track skid steer to me, okay? And the track skid steer is gonna be here, supposed to be around the 23rd. But I asked him, I said, you know, their backhoe is basically down, so if I came, would you mind if I came and got it early if I needed to? And he didn't have a problem with that. So you can just let me know what you want to do. But that's a good deal. And I'll leave this with you, the whole thing. And if you something you want to do, just sign it and I'll come and grab it, and then you can just pay me when I get the machine to you. Whatever.
You want it right off?
Yeah.
Oh,
Whatever, you know, I'm not worried about that, but
yeah, okay, yeah.
The front bucket's a clam bucket.
it is. It's a 4-in-1 bucket on the
So you
front.
wanna see the picture?
No,
You wanna see
I know
pictures?
what they are. That's-
Yeah, you know what that is?
There you go.
Do you want that for handling sand and gravel if they're loading trucks?
Doesn't bother any, but we have one in nice for brush. pick it up.
Grab on the
Stumps,
culvert, you know, on there,
stones,
a little
you know,
bit.
you can pick up stuff like that. We have one, and ever since we had it, we've always tried to keep one.
I know. I almost called you first to see if you wanted, but no, I know your back was in trouble here, so figured I'd
Yep.
offer
I
it to the
appreciate
town
it.
first, and
Appreciate it very much.
yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to say, Tom.
Okay.
So if you
Thank
guys
you.
have any questions about the machine, I mean, I went and ran the machine. It's like a brand new machine, pretty much.
Has Mo
Anybody got any
looked at it,
questions?
or-
Huh?
Has Mo looked at it?
No one's looked at it but me. In fact, I went and looked at it Friday, got a value from Borgers on it, and made the deal with the guy today. Gave me a deposit and signed a purchase order. So.
Is it in Vermont?
Oh yeah, it's in Barrie. In fact, it's the same guy that owned the machine that you have now. Same guy.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Information.
Are we out of visitors yet? You can go.
What was the price of the other John Deere? 70 something, wasn't it?
Mo's gone to get the quotes.
But I think it was 70 something. And that was older and more out. This one
Less
is.
options.
Huh?
Less options. Right, didn't you say the other one just had a regular front bucket?
I believe that's
Yes.
what Mo was just saying. It didn't have a clean up or a fancy bucket or anything.
I would say this is a hell of a deal.
We've had that other one, it's an 04, and when did we buy that?
I bet we've had it 10, 15,
I was
10
gonna say at
years.
least 10.
How are we doing budget-wise, Kathy?
I'm sorry. What do we both?
Yeah, so I'm coming to you tonight to ask for a tax anticipation loan because we're at that point where we're low. And the plan for me was going to be to ask for the tax
So
anticipation.
where are we budget wise?
In terms of the overall budget,
Yeah.
we have spent. We're right on track. I mean, we're about halfway through the budget, halfway through the year.
Must be way ahead on fuel, I would assume.
We are very over in fuel.
That's something we're gonna have to consider.
Why don't we plan on next meeting? Can you print out a budget report?
I was planning on doing it tonight, and I actually found an error, so I didn't bring it tonight. But I have it on my desk if you'd like to look at it.
No, I think we should all take 15 minutes at a meeting and just flip through
Yep, that was my.
2 days.
Your fuel budget's probably gonna double.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already over in our fuel lines right now.
But this
We've
thing's a
gone
long-term,
100%
this is a long-term investment on this backhoe.
I mean, you could call it a capital improvement or whatever. I mean, I don't think, you're not gonna get a deal like this anywhere now.
We also have, after our funding from ARPA that's expected this summer, we'll have a total of $427,000 in ARPA funding that we haven't allocated. So
What is it? The grader paid off this summer?
Grader's 100% paid off.
the salt shed is being paid off this summer.
Salt shed this summer.
I think it's closer to the fall.
I'm pretty sure this is cheaper than that good John Deere that whoever had it was for sale.
So
would
this is
say-
the same fellow that had the rig we got right now, right?
That's what he said, yeah.
I mean, that thing was in great shape when we got the one we got now. Because that's at least 12 or 14 years ago.
But I'm saying this one looks just like brand new. Well, it's only,
800 hours.
800 hours and been inside, the paint's not even faded on it. I don't think you'll find anything for that money anywhere around. Nobody can match it.
Curious how many hours are on ours.
I
Curious how
think I
many
heard
hours.
6,000.
Okay.
I don't know if he found out what it should cost to fix it either yet. I don't know if he's had time or.
what's wrong with it? Is it more wrong with it now than when we started looking?
Nobody's never,
They've never done anything to.
right, we asked him last meeting, I don't know if he had a chance to
Yeah.
have everybody come up and look at it to see what it's cost to fix it. I mean, he said the need pushing, which.
Yeah.
But I think there's also something wrong with the motor, so. You know, that could go a long ways or it could blow up tomorrow.
So he was basically going to service, if I understood correctly, he was going to service this one before they brought it.
Yep.
Funny story, me who said the next meeting is in 3 weeks, 3 weeks ago, baked a cake last Sunday. And then Monday morning, I'm like, oh, there's not a meeting tonight, and threw it in the freezer, so.
It's froze.
The glaze didn't freeze well, I don't think, but it was delicious when I had it fresh.
I agree on a good deal, but I'd just like to know, can we afford it, I guess is what it comes down to.
Well, I think you can't, I think you cannot afford to let it go by myself.
That's what I'm beginning to think. I mean, I'm a big one for spending money, but I know there's certain times with equipment just move along, cost you less.
Morris, what was the quote for that other John Deere, that used one?
Yeah, it's a.
2015 John Deere 410L, which is the same as what he's got, a year older. Total selling price $107,000.
How many hours did?
877. This is saying, this quote is here, see?
2015 410L. Okay, so here you go. So trade-in allowance 31,000 off of 107. So it'd be 76,000. So that one was a little bit more for 1 year older and basically the same hours.
This one's got more bells and whistles.
Yeah, you got the what do you call it, 4-in-1 bucket?
4-in-1 bucket in the
Front bucket. The one down there, just the regular bucket. And the backhoe down there, North Track is just a digging bucket. No twisting it.
No.
So I'd say you get more stuff with this one.
So how do we want to pay for it? Capital improvement fund or ARPA fund or a combination of, or to be determined, defer it later, or?
I mean, you could take some out of your equipment fund.
We will have more in the equipment fund. We have in the budget $40,000 going into this fiscal year. We're already taking some out for the truck, but we have a
Didn't you have $54,000 come in from the education department? So you
$54,000.
have $54,000 there, and figure out where you want to allocate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with Tom. I think when you come to equipment like this, you're crazy the way things are going now. The cost of repairs. My nephew Tom stopped today, and he was doing some job. And he says, he's a hell of a mechanic. He's all over the place. I just can't get over it. The price of parts for anything they touch. Anything.
No.
He says, it doesn't matter what brand or whatever it is. But it's just,
Morris, did you ever get a quote on what it would cost to fix it?
No.
But we're getting up there with the equipment.
Huh?
We're getting up there with in the general fund on equipment already. Maintenance and things. So,
I would make a motion to buy it.
I'd second that motion, and we'll figure out the funding. Take it.
I can come back with five,
Well,
probably
like I said, you got
$5,000.
$54,000. It was not allocated for anything. It was a refund on the education fund.
Melissa's not here. You take. Oh.
Quiet as a mouse.
Quiet. I was just thinking, she's gonna blame me for not taking notes.
You got an opinion on the whole thing?
Isn't there
I think this back over here is,
That's the one you should get.
yeah.
Find that one hard.
What we looked at down there.
Yeah.
What
I don't remember years ago when we used to have that mystery money.
I showed Tom the picture.
Well,
I've
stuff
seen
would
the
be
picture.
approved at town meeting, we never borrowed the
But
money,
that's
but it would go on
for
as an
the
allocated
backhoe.
fund.
So-
So that's what you gotta be careful of,
Right,
For a
like-
backhoe,
like
this
say
mystery
that,
money we used to have.
But
We
we
talked
talked
about,
like you say, the 15.
running that
We
back.
can
We can swing this thing, we just,
yeah,
like that's
there's,
stuff up in East Fairfield.
you
Prioritize.
Cause I brought, I got it.
I think there's some good things, $6,300 in signage, I kinda question.
It's Vader's way to go,
Yeah.
but hey,
But,
you just
some,
spend
you know,
20,000
playground
on
thing,
trail,
it makes
get it
sense to me.
somewhere.
That,
And it's still in pre-five.
And I think, I mean, I haven't been in, like you said, I guess we should go up and look, but,
Some of the
you
back
know,
up.
those buildings are
Sand,
useless.
motor goes down.
You know, that building, if you.
that was a structural
Well, that's
steel
weird.
roof
I don't
thing,
think
so it's all truss
You
rafters.
read them.
No, I know.
Well, it used to be a
I
flat
know what
roof,
you're
so,
doing
it's,
today.
you know,
Yeah.
well, there was,
We hire it.
I would assume the
we
floor
have-
bearing walls
so
were
they
the,
get-
you know, the inside of that order,
Yeah.
auditorium, so.
I'm ready to vote in support. I was just wondering, half, this may be premature because we could defer to later, because I like your motion, but possibly half capital improvement, half ARPA. But you've already got a motion, and I'm ready to vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, I signed it.
That was easy, huh?
All those opposed?
All those opposed?
Must be missed. No vote. Well, if you
Just
don't,
quiet, we're good. We're good.
So it's unanimous then, 'cause if we don't say anything, it's staying saying yes.
or no.
Yeah, that's why I always say opposed. And there's no question.
I was busy taking.
Then, yeah,
notes.
those are signed
Mentally, of course.
signature.
So in the next meeting, I'll bring the accounts that would be relevant to this purchase and their balances.
I'd like the accounts, yeah, for the whole budget.
Yeah, I do have it on my desk, I can give you
Yep,
one
no
before you
problem.
leave. if you'd like.
Well, I think we should all take 15
Yeah.
You'll
minutes.
need to write him a check this week.
I can do that.
Gavin's eyeing these really
We
bad.
do need
And
to,
I have to break the ice.
Decide.
Just,
we do need to consider.
North Track was told to, that we had a meeting Monday night. I can't, I say his last name, Tim, they were told down there, we're gonna have a meeting to come to the meeting, you know. John will bring that out too.
They didn't.
Let's see.
So when did he say it would, he said cash on delivery, right?
Yeah.
Okay, did he give a timeline for that? Like in-
23rd is when the guy's supposed to get the other one, 23rd of
Yeah.
June.
I mean, I think as long as we tell him we're gonna take
We make
it,
the
I mean, he's gotta go get it, he's gotta service it, so it'd be, if not this week, next week, so.
So we could
Could be
get
almost
a
your next
check in the
meeting.
next AP.
Excuse me.
And I think he's, I mean, as long as he's doing it, I mean, if he realizes that, you know, we have to, on a 2-week schedule, I think he'd be fine with that.
Okay.
I mean, I could call him and find out for sure.
Yeah, he'll be fine with it.
He'll get his commission.
I could call, go out, I'll just step out and talk to him. He could- We're on a 2-week schedule.
Well, if he's on his way to Frankfurt, he might not have any cell service.
Depends who you catch him.
Yeah.
Well, we can keep moving along. I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Second.
If Tom's gone, I can temporarily take over the chairman, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No? Good, we can get the minutes done. One thing out of the way. You got any big things, Mo?
Yeah,
Don't get ahead of you, just gotta move it back over to work with.
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Gavin went over to me, with me, to the library, there's a sidewalk. Looks like kind of settled, he questioned me about the town. Yeah, it's in our right of way, which it ain't.
We measured right away, it's 15 feet out of the town road right away. And as I said to Mo, this to me is part of their maintenance budget on their building. But it's what it appears, when you go in that, you know where those cow figures are, that door that goes in there, it goes down like this. And apparently water collected. It was slippery last one. But that's, to me, part of their maintenance budget, it's not part of
Yeah,
our.
pick this up tomorrow.
Okay, great.
So that's just my opinion. That's
So
just-
I told the librarian, Sarah,
Yeah.
and she said, well, municipality building, I said, yes, but it's a little different thing there.
Has its own budget,
Yeah,
everything else. So basically, either gonna jackhammer it out,
Something that you.
something to bring it up, to get it back up. It does a little bit of this right here, and the water collects into it, freezes. So either don't use that door in the wintertime, and go in the front one, or you spend, I bet you could spend $3 grand pretty easily. Because you're gonna have to jackhammer out the concrete that's there. It's over at the library. This door, most westerly door, comes out and it comes in, it's actually dropped, because it's lower than the blacktop. And last winter, apparently they had slip and sliding going on or something.
Couple of them fell.
Yeah.
The new library?
Yeah. And I said, that's part of their maintenance budget, in my mind, for the building. And they put their budget together for the year. And I'm thinking, they got all this extra sitting over there to be used for something. They could use part of that for that kind of stuff. But it's their budget, their maintenance. Yes, municipal building, but it's part of their budget. So
What they wanted us to pay for?
they were hoping we would, or the head librarian there, Sarah, I
Yeah.
don't know what her last name is now.
She also was thinking that if we wouldn't, if the select board decided not to help pay for it, then they would really appreciate the contracting if they could contract with the town to do some work. She's, you know, if it's something that you're interested in doing as work, you know. And the other part of the conversation that they're having, they actually have been working really hard on their budgets and their financial management process, and would like to invite the select board to either come to one of their meetings or for them to come to your meeting or have a special meeting to discuss it all. So moving forward, I think we're gonna have a clarity around what their money is and what they're interested in using it for and what we together can agree on. So this is just sort of one thing, but it brings that up for me.
So, we're not gonna fix it, it's in front of the library? Right?
That
Okay,
walkway
so
to the
it's-
front.
Sorry.
Well, just, I have to bring it down, but
No,
I can't go over and say, well, we can't take care of that. I got
But,
the
I
select
mean,
board, you know.
Isn't it part of the design fault or something?
It's,
It wasn't part of the grant, right? It was their separate other sidewalk?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're
sidewalk.
they put in, when they built this library there.
And I'd say it's settled 4 inches.
I got you.
And something of that nature. But I bet if you fix it right, you'd have $3 to $5 grand in that thing. Because you're gonna have to take out 12 feet of it, the way it's cut.
Yeah.
To get it lifted back and get it
To get them all lined back up, and
Yeah.
bring that ones back up.
in. And then change the fill underneath or whatever, let it settle to that amount. It'd be a bigger problem, I don't know.
So can you give, Sarah or somebody what
The note
the
that-
selectmen make their decision on?
So you're preferring that they put it out to bid? I can.
Not the,
I don't see us, you guys don't have time to be doing that.
No.
I don't think
we
so.
can get done
Okay.
what we need to get done.
Yeah.
I can give that message to them.
And I think it's too precise, you know, it's too much of a precise work for, I mean, not you guys could do
No,
it.
but I mean, you know.
You know, there'd be just something they holler at, they didn't do it
Oh,
right
yeah.
or something.
Well, I just wonder when you get the concrete out and you get looking at the base underneath it, what's going on here? 'Cause, yeah, could be settling from all the dirt movement around at that time.
Yeah, I mean, they, dug and then they refilled.
Yeah, refill, backfill with this, fill that in, so.
So we're not still talking about that, are we? let's move on.
Okay.
It's not our,
Okay.
You got pizza oven.
And I guess they could, I'd rather have them come to our meeting.
You got it, okay. I'll
If
let
they
them know.
want, they got a budget, they wanna propose or whatever, talk about money.
They do want to make sure that there's like plenty of time for for all of you to have a conversation. So, I'll let them know that you would prefer that they come to your meeting, and we'll see how far we can get.
We got a revised Pike pavement. Got the reading and this is the letter he sent us, and this is the number.
this revised scope of work project consists of work projects approximately $4.50 per ton increased cost to the contractor, which has been reflected in the revised unit price. So they moved their price from $89.88 per ton to $94.38 per ton. With asphalt, price will change still based on liquid asphalt. So this quote is still above the town's maximum budget from 50 and revise accordingly. So where does that?
This is the price of.
Is that revised, because we reduced it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, took out Bridge Street.
That kind of makes sense.
So how much did it go up?
$4 and.
Yeah, I mean, the total cost.
I don't know what the total is.
So the original cost was $510,000.
Right here.
And the
That
unit
wasn't-
price,
oh, just that one.
Yes,
unit
that's
price
the
was
revised.
$89.98.
Oh, how much it went?
Right, so the 2090 tons times 89.88 went up $10,000 basically.
And is this good for the end, or, I mean, fuel's still going up, so I mean.
Yeah, that's where he put it in there.
The
Price,
The state of Vermont, I believe it is, has a method for
right here.
adjusting it based on,
This is the main price. We're gonna change
Yeah.
$719 a ton for the.
This is prices valid through 2022. Whether they can, negotiate any further increases through the state.
right, this,
It just says price valid through 2022.
right, but this price can fluctuate based on asphalt cement price
Strawberry.
adjustment approved by the state of Vermont.
Cool.
It's kind of.
What else you got, Mom?
You guys gotta decide, or do this,
So are we gonna spend $200,000 on paving, or do we want him to revise it down to 150?
At the point now, that's doing New Street, Bridge Street.
New Street, Mill Street, and the apron on Lapland Road.
We weren't gonna do bridge.
no, let that out.
So just those two streets, New Street,
Yeah,
Mill Street, and up on Lapland Road.
yeah, little section.
We budgeted 150, and how much were we carrying over? Are we carrying 50,
60 in that CD.
So I guess make up your mind this year. Do you want to spend it this year or next year? Because next year you'll be at 150 or whatever you think that budget. I mean, it's the time to do it, right? Because going on Lapland Road, that's going what, 500 feet?
No, I think 120
120.
from where the blacktop ends now.
And it's to keep it from doing that.
Or wash it down, it comes down.
It's a mess right there.
Is that
Yeah,
at all near
We're-
the?
Hey, I say we press on. I mean, I don't think we're gonna value engineer down. I mean, I think
Is that location on the Lapland Road near the Better Roads project?
what else did you put on to it? So you're suggesting we go ahead with what we got and we have to do some adjusting at the end of the year here and something.
Yeah, I mean,
Budget.
I don't know where you could, you can't stop any of those projects anywhere.
No.
They like to go from intersection or end to end, so. I mean, yeah, you could not do that Lapland extension, but it's just, you're right there and we'd be
Well, now, if
interested
you're gonna do it, now's the time to be doing it.
when he's right there. You're gonna fill in the V too?
Yes, that's, we had the lap plan, it's, I think one, I don't know, that'd be tonnage. probably
That's tons, yeah.
Yeah, April will be 145 tons.
So it's fair, like I said, that's 100 plus feet.
Yeah. That whole corner gonna be.
Isn't there something there that's all stable? Then there used to be an old,
Yes.
is that all?
It seemed to be, I'm hoping, been a lot of years, 'cause I remember it been good.
So that culvert that right at that V is good that goes
Yeah.
across the end of Lapland Road, right?
Yep.
But I can remember it used to be
Spring.
something cement there or something, right?
Spring.
Yeah,
Right in the road?
yeah, right in the V,
Right in the
right in the V.
Oh, yeah, you're right, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure if we're gonna blacktop over it, everything is stable there, or,
Yeah.
like you say, I haven't seen any,
Over 30 years ago, filled that in.
yeah. So, no,
And we ran
I
a
think,
drain, we ran a drain out to the other side of the road too. We
I
did.
think, if all those culverts are good, I would just bite the bullet, and once you're there, you're not gonna get any cheaper, and just
So we wanna sign this thing tonight so it's committed, is that the deal?
might as well.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're all in agreement. We gotta make it work some way.
And stop, if you sign it tonight, maybe they ought to stop the increases. Hopefully.
Well, don't push it.
No,
Yeah.
I like to be positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else for us?
Yeah. The North Road between Bruce and RJ's culvert. It's gonna be, this is a grant, this is Better Back Road grant. Gonna be a 60-inch, it's a 4-footer in there now. 60-inch going in there. That's what they proposed anyways. Hydraulic study. Gonna be a poly coated culvert, steel culvert, 96 feet of it. And around, Randy Reed called me today about it, give me the numbers on it. The band shipping 1,800, getting there. 18,000 before that culvert.
Where's
The
that
grant,
coming from?
Steve Wolf, Chris, I'm trying to think, down in Massachusetts. The total grant was, the total project cost was 73,000. Funding is 56,000. The match would be 17,000.
Yeah, some of that money can come out of that ARPA stuff, right? These numbers start adding up here.
I know.
Pretty soon you're $100,000 over what you're talking about, so, pizza oven's nice, but for long-term stuff, I don't see these roads not falling all apart, those culverts. So we may have to make some commitments out of that.
Well, this is the Better Roads grant that you were just awarded.
Yes.
Just make sure you don't have any expenditures or don't start the project till after July 1st.
Yeah, we won't have to go for, we got still order culvert, I don't know how long, how far out that is.
Now, the steel culverts you got over there, is that a case you couldn't get plastic, or you're going away from the plastics and just? the
Both.
steel? Little both.
No, both.
Some places the
Can't
steel
get-
holds up better and.
Yep,
With that size, it's plastic stuff.
No, I wouldn't put plastic down there.
That size, you're not.
No, but I'm talking the ones we got culverts over at the garage. Now there's, you got a bunch of steel ones. I just wondered if it was in case you couldn't get plastic or you were preferring to use the steel.
Yeah. We prefer going, one we pulled out today was one of those squashed plastic culverts.
Is there any in-kind you can tilt towards the match? Work, in-kind?
I,
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the labor can be used as a match.
Okay.
All
Labor,
of the,
equipment.
all of the
So you
supplies,
could,
anything that we
you
would
could almost
normally
take that
use.
match and make that up.
Mhm.
Truckers, whatever you gotta do.
Would be
What's in
a-
there for coming out, those concrete ones?
No, steel,
There's a steel one in there.
steel 4-footer. We replaced, last year we had replaced the inlet one, that one was completely gone and eating side of the road right now.
So when you use your labor for in-kind, for the match, do you keep track of that?
Yeah, we have to put together, everything that we spend on the project
They have
and
a-
package.
They have a state, or, they have a figure already, you can't bloom it, they have a set figure.
No, I understand that, yeah.
And then they reimburse once we actually put that together as a requisition.
Yeah.
And then they'll reimburse us for the amount of money that we.
But you gotta pay the match to start with.
Yeah, you have to actually pay up front and then
Right.
get reimbursed.
We're good there?
What was that?
We're good there, you gotta, yeah.
Well, we're getting there.
Okay.
We could be. I just need to, we have to get a tax anticipation loan. Because we always do at this time of year. It's usually between $400,000 and $500,000. And we are at about 52,000 cash on hand right now in our operating account. So it's time. It's just time. So once we have that, then yes, we'll be fine.
Be put out to bid, or has it been put out to bid? That culvert?
No, don't think you have to put that bid out for sure and check into that.
Mo, are you doing the work?
Yeah, we will.
We're gonna have to hire an excavator.
Yeah, well, right now is like to hire Jeff Corey. They'll come down with 2 excavators. They'll get it in, and
How long a time period do they anticipate?
2 days,
2 days.
maybe 3. It depends how late you work.
We
Whether you
put a diversion road?
I don't.
We already have off truck traffic. I was gonna say run them down Fairfield.
Oh yeah, you have to detour them. But you say put like
Yeah.
a culvert in to get people around.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you gonna close the road?
Yeah.
Well, that's inconvenient.
Why?
You can tour North Fairfield.
The road washes out and it's gonna be inconvenient.
Convenient,
too.
yeah.
Could be
out
more
there now.
inconvenient.
So.
It's gonna be more inconvenient with the
That's
big
something you
one.
wanna do this summer or?
They're planning
When you have a good.
if the town wanna not do this year. We got plenty of things to do.
Oh, yeah.
Like that one you put on last year, you can take that off, keep it for use. The section you put on.
Yes,
in.
yeah.
The rest of it's pretty right.
Yes, it is.
That's a good question.
And once you're ready to go with the project, we can post it onto the state announcement that the project is happening for detours and information.
Yeah, we'll have to put up decent signs.
Yeah,
On the
decent
other end.
signs.
It would say at least a couple weeks ahead of time.
Oh, for sure.
You'll know.
This is
You know,
Big
like
difference.
for the fire department. but
Yeah.
You know, like grain trucks, milk trucks, feed trucks.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's-
traffic on that road.
That's a tough
yeah.
Chopping.
Better they go over Parity or Fred's old bridge.
How about it? Get a new bridge.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the same thing next summer down around there.
Yeah.
Might as well get used to it now.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be done.
Yeah.
So do you get anything from us for that?
Need approval.
I
for
just,
that.
if we're gonna do a project, I gotta get a culvert to get it ordered.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys have time to do it.
Yeah, let's get it going.
Yeah.
That's great.
And like say, like Tom said, check with the one that truck and feed down through there.
I was just saying, I'll put up signs a couple weeks ahead of time. I think we have to red flashing lights and all that crap.
You better let those guys know they're doing a rail trail, cause they're trucking some over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be-
There's a lot.
I'd say there's 3 or 4 guys that we'd be in the way of, so the majority of them we can touch base with.
It'll be, let's say you can't start the 1st of July anyway, it'd be sometime in July, and then Jeffrey's schedule, and
Get the culvert ordered. And
Get it ordered, get the thing here, and
Would
then
that be would that be a good, I know you, I don't go and work a weekend, but would that be a good weekend project? When you don't have the trucks
No.
on the road?
no, we like working weekends. We work them all winter, so, no, if we can, I can bring it up to everybody, and
Or maybe a Friday, Saturday or something?
maybe.
I used to get a lot of trucks off the road on the weekend, that's all.
No, yeah. No. If,
Yeah,
like
one night's
anybody, if you know that, like Mortal Feed or whoever,
Right.
know that, 3 days, you're gonna be shut
You're
down.
right, they're gonna
They
have
just
to.
come up over the hill, or they gotta go to Sheldon, and go, no, I can't, I can work.
No, we just have to walk. Parity Road. Not Parity, but Gun St. Rocks and go up over the hill, come down by Magnets.
Yeah,
There's a way around it. It's
Yeah.
just longer, that's all.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, I would think by July 1st, they'd be up towards East Fairfield more. I mean,
think, yeah.
unless they, and I don't know if they start their other project, I think that's coming out of Colchester, so that's not gonna be, I think the top one is gonna be a colored stone,
Yeah.
finer, so.
I don't know. That down in Heidi didn't turn out that good, so I don't know if they're gonna use that. Cause it doesn't pack very well, that stuff.
That stuff they got there now
That
for
stone
a
they
base
have,
doesn't
yeah.
pack, I know that. I went to see him today and got stuck in my pickup.
I mean, it cracks me up down by my barn. They put a new culvert across. The other one's there, probably the original one from the railroad. So the guy's doing stuff. I said, hey, what are you going to do about this culvert coming across here? Well, there's no culvert there. I said, really? I said, where do you think all that water comes down off that hill? It says it comes under Route 36 on concrete, 3-foot culverts. Where do you think that water goes? I said, maybe you ought to take the dirt you got off here and go check for true. And you've got a culvert end down there. No, I checked before I did it. State lady's there. I said, I got a newsflash, man. You're the engineer on this project here. You better be telling them what to do pretty quick. And I said, come over here. There's a water building up already over on this side of the culvert. I said, you tell me there's not a culvert through there? Cleaned it off, sure enough. Good God. That doesn't list it anywhere. Well, it's been here the same time that bridge was put in when that whole railroad thing was done.
Any other excitement?
No. Get a ton truck back, probably see that in my door.
No,
no.
didn't notice.
They would bend down the book and air conditioner and coolant for the transmission lines. Price that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you stockpile the gravel and the stone that you get, or do you use it as we go?
Both.
Both. Okay. Right. And you're gonna be doing Lapland Road this summer too? Yeah.
It's on this page.
Speaking of projects, have we done something about sand yet?
No. I got hold of the rights, but I have not got hold of Matt. Yeah, get a quote and I'll have it for next meeting.
How much you got left in the shed?
Figuring roughly 2,000.
So, quarter or third? You put
What's the whole
6,000.
6,000 or we buy 6 and
Yeah.
somebody wanna go measure it. We go with 4 this year. So,
Right, you had a little trouble with it, or Jimmy did.
yeah, yes. They cleaned up a little too clean on the ground and got the stones mixed in with it.
You mean outside?
No, inside.
Oh, get some blacktop?
No, they pile of sand up and dig too close to the ground.
Yeah.
They got, yeah, cause Jimmy got the double augers.
Oh.
Or they're loading out of their pit.
Yeah. And then
Grab
draw
it.
around.
Yeah.
So they'll remedy it this year if they.
No, yeah. No, yeah.
Okay, well, we're gonna get done tonight.
Linda?
Thank you, Mo.
Okay, so it sounds like now that people are interested in John Soul's building over in East Fairfield.
Okay, thank you.
He wants, he's trying to negotiate. And
Johnson, Mentor.
he,
Can you
talked
give
to,
me a call on it?
Yes.
Just leave it on this.
talked to Tim
Okay.
Hawkins today. And in order for a tax sale to be valid, he has to sign a certified mail. And he didn't the last time when nothing happened. So Tim is not liking to go forward to do a tax sale because if John won't sign the certified mailing, then it invalidates the whole thing. So now we have a couple people that are interested in the building and
How much does he owe back taxes?
like $1,600.
So has he paid them?
No,
So then put it up for tax.
okay.
In my
But,
mind, right? So that's how we've kept this thing down so low. We
Right.
don't dick around.
but Tim is saying it doesn't hold up in court if he doesn't sign the certified mail.
So, but he has to pay the taxes, which he refuses to do.
That he refuses to do. So, okay.
So he wouldn't, how does he know what's in that certified? He just doesn't accept that certified.
Right, well, he
Yeah.
knows what it is, cause he owes taxes, why else would I send him a certified letter? So,
Well, it can't be the first time this has come up. How do they normally handle it?
because there's been another court case. And this is personal property because it's on, the state owns the land. So I'm just letting you know where we're at on it.
No,
So-
I don't.
So that being said, we need the motion to give me the authority to collect taxes based on, what's highlighted there. Using any means possible, including hiring Tim Hawkins to do a tax sale. And then it has to be in the minutes like it always is. So if somebody,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
okay,
But this goes through in the normal manner that we have.
okay. So that's part of the piece. The other piece.
You wanna go, Tom? You wanna?
All those in favor? Or
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay,
Unanimous, okay.
I'll let Tim know that you wanna go forward with it and. So the other thing, I have is,
Cake's very good.
It's really good.
okay, well then I know it freezes well then, thank you.
I'll take some home and freeze it over again. See if it's been twice. It's already twice
Twice
frozen.
frozen. So,
No, twice isn't good, Kevin. Twice isn't good.
So there's been a tree, the intersection of Pond and North Road, that was always of discussion that restricted the view towards Sheldon coming off Pond Road. That tree also got hit by many feed trucks and spread nuts all fall in the road, which did become hazardous when it's raining. The tree is now gone. The homeowner paid for the tree to go.
To them.
And
That time, so they took it upon themselves.
so it was $1,800. The tree was in the town right away. Just putting it out there to see if the town would like to give any back to the homeowner for taking care of the tree in the town right away.
I think, I hate to say, I'd love to reimburse that, but the only problem is it kind of sets a precedent for somebody else to bring the same thing in.
Well,
Yeah.
it is, it was in the right of way. I got rid
But
of
did you
it.
ask us to do that?
Yeah,
I
that's
had,
too.
I had mentioned, it's been passed off. I
I kinda like that tree there myself.
I-
So I'll pick some of those buttons.
Yeah, well, it needed to
Cause I
be,
figured it was in the public right away.
yeah,
It's-
it needed to be gone. It's an awful mess in the road every fall, and people go flying through there. As the homeowner, I wasn't waiting around anymore. I mentioned it a few times, I didn't get a valid answer.
So what do you have hoping?
What I hope, you know what, I don't hope anything. Something happened, it happens. I'm just putting it out there that it was taken care of, it was in the right of way, it was a nuisance in the road, it'd been complained about prior with the line of sight being restricted. It was there, it's gone. I understand the budget's tight. I just,
I would be willing to split it.
I'd be willing to split the thing, cause it was a piece, but I don't know how you guys feel, that's just my opinion.
Second.
I'm gonna be the dick, you can be mad at me later.
I'm not mad at you, I don't care.
I think if it had been, hey, I wanna cut this tree, can I do it? I'll split the cost with you. It'd be a lot easier, cause I can think of one former neighbor on Pond Road who could have sent us a $10,000 bill for all those trees.
Well, I think, if trees need to be gotten rid of, they need to be gotten rid of, but,
It's in the eye of the beholder.
it just,
Is that the same one they cut the limb off? No.
oh, that one's
No.
gone too. I'm not, it was, that one, there wasn't much left of, that was an $800 tree. The big one was an $1,800 tree, and somebody else quoted $2,300 for that, so I got a
Did
bargain.
Mo cut the limit? Cause
He did take some, but
so
over
this
the,
is a separate tree.
this is a tree, no, this is the tree that gets hit all the time.
Okay.
But he did go out and clip some of it. However, as the summer goes and it gets loaded down and foliage.
Is it a butternut?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
I just couldn't cut like buttons.
What'd you do with it?
Oh, it went through the chipper and
really?
they hauled it off. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, that's that. That's all
Was
I
the
have.
tree rotten?
Was it rotten?
Right, in the core of it, was it?
There was center was all hollow, right? Wasn't the center hollow? It looked like when I went by.
The maple tree was. The nut tree, I don't know. I mean, it had a split in it, so part of it was going to go in the road, and part of it was going to go whatever. It was huge, but it was.
Yeah, they're dying.
It's a nuisance. It was a nuisance.
Fungus.
Yeah, it was a nuisance. It got hit.
The only
It
thing
did-
I'm afraid of is what happens when the next guy brings in and say, hey, I cut this, it's in the right of way, and it's a $2,000 bill there.
Well, the thing is, this one has come up before.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this one had been come up before saying that it was in the sight line, that, it's come up more than once, that it's hard to see that way. So but, whatever you decide, but,
We have a motion, so everybody in favor of it or vote. I've got one opposed, so they have two.
I love to reimburse it, but I just hate to set a precedent on that. If we don't think it's gonna ever happen, but.
Well, I see what you're saying, but if it's someone that come in and never talked to us about it,
Yeah, why, yeah.
and all of a sudden say, well, I just
I guess,
to go.
I guess if you mentioned it here many times and nobody's done anything.
And the
Yeah.
board,
Yeah, but
tree-
sometimes not doing anything, and I'm not saying that's the
No,
case
no.
this time, but
Yeah.
sometimes not addressing an issue is a way of addressing.
Yeah.
So Gavin doesn't like the tree in front of his house. Everybody else in the world thinks it's beautiful. He has to rake the leaves up.
No, Cindy doesn't like that tree. She's been trying to get me to cut it. And I said, I can't cut that tree. That's in the state right away. That big pine tree and that bastard, all this stuff's falling off of it.
so anyway, you decide. Thank you for your time.
That's it?
Well-
So there's a motion on the table.
Yeah, Gavin seconded it.
I seconded it.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. To
Those
split the
opposed?
cost of the,
Right,
half the cost of that.
reimbursed. Those opposed?
I'm not gonna say you,
No.
so.
I'm gonna say no. Just,
So we all got a vote?
how many dozen eggs have I gotta bring you?
What's that?
How many dozen eggs have I gotta bring you?
Oh, no, I mean, no, I just,
No,
nothing.
Linda, grab that. He's kicking from you.
Did you vote?
I'm gonna vote no. I voted yes.
So,
I'll read it too.
yeah, no, I mean, this is,
It passed over the.
yeah,
Yes.
no, it's nothing.
Next,
Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Linda.
Thank
What
you.
is this? Is it a pound cake or what do you call that?
Here, just.
It's a strawberry butt cake was the recipe.
I'll just send it
Yeah.
down, down, keep it away from
Yeah, I
us.
thought it was a beef.
Stop bringing this.
Well, I can start charging for desserts.
You'd have to bring me a cold glass of milk to go with them. Then I would beg.
So,
just for planning, I wonder, because we do have another guest, if we start, I think it's important that we go to executive session tonight before it's like 11 o'clock at night. So that's,
I think we're about done our business stuff, right?
well,
I have
there's
some
other,
things
there's
that-
other stuff.
transaction of business.
That's just my thought before we, but go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's right.
How much stuff do you have?
A few things I can put off, but mostly, like you don't need to know where, you don't need to know about the pavilion. Common school discussion I can talk about later. We have an RFP out for the energy audit. It's coming in about $600 and it's closing at our next select board meeting. We need to make a motion for a tax anticipation loan, and we do need to make a motion for a
Well,
grant
let's-
anticipation loan.
let's-
So
what-
those
what
are
is-
the two things that.
So what would that motion, what would the tax anticipation loan motion be? What would that?
So I was crunching some numbers, and to get through AP 9 times, I'm talking like through November, and payroll through November, and then covering Lapland North and the paving work, along with the grants and age, where it would be, that all came to $800,000. But some of those projects also include staffing, so that's gonna be a wash. So I'm thinking probably 600,000. Last year it was 500. Year before it was 400.
Do we have to get it all now? Why don't we get 400 now and get the balance? We know what we need.
I did the math, so it does look, I can take out the staffing in a couple minutes, but it looks like 800,000. I have it here.
Is there a reason to get it all at once?
You just wanna make so James launched the grand list. As soon as you get your education for homestead and non-homestead, based on your budget for this year, you can set the tax rate. Those notices that Linda sends out are typically in August. So as of August, you'll start getting money in. Taxes are due the first Friday in November. You just wanna make sure that you have enough money to cover your payroll, your AP, and any projects. So certainly the Pike that you just approved, the Better Roads grant that Mo just talked about.
Okay, but I think what Dave's asking is if we made a motion for 600,000, that's your recommendation,
My
right?
request was 600,000.
Okay, so if we made a motion for that,
Mhm.
can we borrow in increments, like say, okay, we need 400, or is that,
So
would we?
so typically we've done a loan, and Peoples has deposited that lump sum in our bank account, and we've held on to it until the maturity date, which we've typically set as November 1st, and then we paid it all back plus interest. What you can do is, the different option is a line of credit, and do
That's what I was
6 or
gonna say.
800,000.
600,000?
Take what you need. as the time goes on.
Pay as you need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we
That's
have.
what I was gonna say, if
Yep.
that would be a better option, you could use a line of credit and, then if you didn't use it all, or you're not paying on the whole amount, you're just paying on what you use.
Again, we haven't done that in the past, but it is.
I wonder if there's a
And
difference
if the
in
interest rate
terms.
is still the same.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a difference in the term for a line of credit.
I'm not sure of the difference.
So, I mean, can you get by with 2 weeks and find out?
Honestly, we will be overdrawn if we do. So we do need a line of credit or something.
Have you
moved
spoken to the
today.
bank at all, to see where the interest rates are?
I haven't.
Well, I make a motion that we would authorize
Go
a
down.
line, pardon me?
Those interest rates aren't gonna go down. Not for a while.
They just went up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I make a
I
motion
think with
that,
your line of credit too, the interest rates will grow
Yeah.
as you go. You're almost better off take it.
yeah, well, yeah, I make a motion that we take a $600,000 loan for the term 1 November, is that
Through November.
through November? And, yeah, that's the motion. We could research the line of credit for like a
Next
future, yeah, for the future. Maybe there's terms that could be negotiated this year,
I mean, I would think you negotiate a interest rate. I mean, they haven't gotta give you, what, municipality should be able to give or take a little bit, I mean, you always,
Who do you deal with down there now?
Sue Cross. And she stopped by last week, so she knows that this is coming.
I'll second Brian's, because I think that it is, right now is to take that.
yeah, and have the dialogue, you know?
Yeah, I can talk about it.
I think we should have a dialogue before, whenever you need us to sign something for a loan, we should know the interest and the terms.
I was
No,
gonna say the
this
same
is-
thing, just.
This is not how not that it's gonna make a big difference, but before,
Nice to know what the heck you're talking about.
yeah, before I say, yep,
Well, we're gonna need.
Well, this is a yearly thing, so we're not talking about this isn't seat of the pants. So,
Still, if you were gonna ask for 600,000, you should add, know what the interest rate's gonna be and stuff like
I
that.
should have brought that. I agree.
you wanna you wanna defer, you wanna have a special
No,
meeting, you
no.
wanna have a special meeting? What-
really-
what-
No, I'm just saying, just for our information, and we all
No,
generally, so you get the best rate you can and borrow the money.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying for future
okay.
information, it should have been, the interest rate should have been known tonight before we, just to give us a little, not that it's gonna change anything, but just for,
Yeah, I agree.
Sure,
for our information.
sure.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All opposed?
And the second was a grant anticipation loan, which St. Ange came in at $617,573. Stantec for Jouer came in at $72,807. I didn't put this down, but we also transferred $115,000 out of our capital. So in order to be ready for this project that's starting in July, we're gonna need about a $600,000 grant anticipation loan. And I can bring in rates at our next meeting.
do some homework on it.
Yeah.
Check
And
a
you
couple
guys all
different
know that
options.
Stanton's can't start in June, he's gonna start in July
He's starting in July.
because of supply that he,
Stantec.
Pre-cap and Calvert won't be there till into his timeline, so.
Well, what was the deal just on the others? They had to notify everybody downstream or something?
Yeah, so we're waiting on a new H&H study from Tyler that needs to go to
Right.
FEMA
Wasn't
in order
this,
to
wasn't
us
this
to
something that should have
plus-
been in the whole package when you're getting this
It
thing ready?
absolutely should have.
So he screwed it, they dropped the ball
I
again.
think he did.
Well, he said, you said it was the FEMA that
So
recommended that.
FEMA recommended that we submit more information than was already submitted. And in a format that included upstream and downstream levels of the water flow before the bridge and after the bridge, so that downstream farmers could understand what that might look like if there are any changes in the future. So what was provided did not include those levels. And so FEMA is asking for a different draft to be put together. I expect that tomorrow, and that will go to FEMA, and then we have to post for the farmers and the people downstream so that they're notified that this is going to happen. And then once
How far downstream it had to be?
we did have that conversation. I don't have that detail with me today.
As I said, it's just one person downstream for a mile and a half
That's
I
what I
know,
say.
I know, when the
till you get to the Fairfield Centers. There's only one person you gotta notify, so.
this is FEMA. Yeah, it's really just.
And probably Ben Williams, because Williams got that little metal now out behind down garage. That'd be before the bridge.
Yeah, but that's not gonna flood.
No, but I bet as a budding landowner, the name would be thrown out there.
It was a mandated thing, not a recommendation.
It's required before they'll give us
Okay.
an amount of reimbursable funds
But this is stuff that should have been known
to by
before.
them.
So do you need that tonight
I
or?
do, I don't need anything on that particular thing, but I do need, I think we can get away with not having a grant anticipation loan right now, and we'll do it in the next meeting, and I can get released for that.
Yeah, we need, I'm not taking out $1 million worth of loans without having any information.
Yeah, no, I heard you. I heard that pretty good. I'm comfortable with that, that's fine.
How long is usual, Jonathan, their reimbursement? A year?
So technically, based on statute, you're allowed to borrow up to a certain amount for a year.
Yeah.
FEMA's taking anywhere from 6 months to a year to do closeout right now. So takes a long time.
Is the interest deductible on their total expense?
No.
No. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We do have, so going back, there are a couple other things that I need to get through tonight. Do you want to do that before we meet with Jonathan or after?
Let's get the business done, that's been
Okay.
No offense, Jonathan.
No, it's fine. Yep.
So I would request that the select board approve an exact amount for the air pack charging station for the fire station. They provided me with the number of $44,347 that I would put into the agreement with them for them to sign so that we can get that check to them at the next meeting. So the exact amount is $44,347.
I'll make a motion and
Is that lower or
It's
same?
the exact same.
Same.
I'll make a motion that we pay them out, we agreed upon, $44,300 whatever dollars.
Out of the ARPA fund.
Yep, I'll second it. All those in favor?
Right.
Something impressive.
And the next one is similar, approve an exact amount for the fire district 2 meters replacement. We didn't actually have an exact amount in the last meeting, but it does come to $26,313. So the reason that we're doing this is because in order to have a record of this in our minutes, we have to make sure.
I'd make a motion then that we pay it out the exact amount.
Is that their
Out of-
minus their 10% or is that?
That's minus 13%,
So whatever the 26,000,
$313.
make that motion.
I'll second it. All those in favor?
Alright.
So we can talk about the common school next month. It's just, I do have something that I've written up that I'd like you to look at, and we can talk about it later, but we've had some work already done around ADA accessibility, and there's some work that's been done to the windows, and there's sort of a historical record of all of the things that we've done there. And what we're missing is a vision. So this is just my request that we consider creating a vision for the property that is really what ultimately does this town want this building to achieve for our community, and understanding together who's going to use it. And I just have a proposal for how we might be able to do that on this form. So if you could just read it, and then maybe we can talk about it at the next meeting. It's all coming together so that with the energy audit as another part, we have a whole list of things that we could do to that building. And I think it would be great if we could get together and talk about that a little bit more. The North Road Structures grant that I came to you and said was denied in the last meeting, I talked to Jim Coda, and he said that actually, after they gave out all of their funding, they had $175,000 available that this town could have for that project, which is $25,000 less than was requested, for the total project that was estimated originally at $348,395. So this is the North Road culvert by Parity Road. So the question becomes, if we decide to accept this money, we would have to take on more money in order to get the project done. And it would put us lower down on the list in the future. If we don't take the money, we don't have a guarantee that we're going to even get any money offered to us next year or up to sometimes 3 or 5 years. So I just wanted to make sure that the select board was able to have a conversation about that, because either way, there's pros and cons.
The project was estimated at 300,000.
Yeah, 300,400, 348,395 originally.
But that was with all the culvert stuff that we've been through, right? I mean, that's like the box culvert, the whole,
This-
That's a different.
This,
You're thinking
it's a different-
corrugated steel.
Is this the Horrigan?
It's different. This is the one that we put together this year. The project actually wouldn't take place until not next year, but the year after. That project is gonna happen next summer.
You're not gonna
The
come up with
one-
$175,000 of our own money.
Just
If we're just saying they had $175,000 left. And they said they'd give that towards doing that culvert by Virginia's. Right, that's a culvert.
yes.
So V-Trans, after they gave out all of their project money, all of their grant money, had $175,000 available to go toward the Parity Road, North Road culvert project that we had proposed to them, which is $25,000 less than we expected for that project, and the whole project is $148,395. And the question is, do we want to accept that money knowing that it will put us even farther back in future years on the list? And knowing that we also are gonna have to spend more money? Or do we want to not accept the money and take the chance that we don't get the money anyway, any money in future years? Because it's all sort of up in the air around if we're gonna get any money. So that's
At this
the
point, we don't
question.
have 175,000 to spend. I mean, it's great, wonderful, but
What's the condition of the culvert?
It's actually it's in poor condition. So we've already done the study about it. It's not something that is going to collapse. At some point, it does have to get replaced.
So which culvert?
It's the one near Parity Bridge on North Road.
near Virginia Hardens,
That big culvert, before.
there's a lot smaller watershed there. It's
Yeah,
not-
my opinion, I mean, just one man's opinion, but I'd say do it and use the ARPA fund to make the balance. And I might, because everything's getting more expensive. Culverts, if you pay now or pay more later. But I have limited knowledge of the whole thing. I just philosophically, and I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
Won't be a very big one, though, right? How big is that?
I don't know how big that culvert is, but as you say, it's a hell of a depth to ditch.
Yeah, it's really deep. And
Really?
it's not gonna be for next summer, it would be the following summer, so 2024.
But your
It's-
chances of that rotation thing, how long does that go? Didn't it used to be 3 years?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
And it all depends on.
It's not a high priority project. There's not a lot of water. Unless somebody told me it was gonna fall apart, but I'm not.
Because that water from that whole ravine comes down through there, doesn't it?
I mean, it's not that big of a watershed. The top of the hill is not far away. There's a, 4-footer in there already?
Yeah, and the other thing
It's
that we
not-
don't know is that we didn't receive an engineering grant for this particular project, so we don't really know what's going on there.
So that's another on top
It
of
would
the
be on top.
345,000.
Yeah,
So now you're probably talking another $30,000 for that.
if we decide that we want
You
to do
don't
that, yeah.
necessarily need an engineering study for a culvert that size. I mean, the state will come and do a hydraulic assessment for free.
Yeah, for a 4-foot culvert.
Yeah.
They'll tell you,
Any culvert,
and
they're
then tell you need to put a 6 in,
Yep.
pretty much.
So they're 8 to 12 months out to do the hydraulic studies, but if you get on V-Trance's list, it's free to have them do, so.
And I think the other thing too, if you say no, that may give you a blacklist against them.
He actually didn't assume we would say yes. He absolutely told me that it's really up to you and that money is available if you want it,
Oh, but depends on who they, how they feel or.
I mean, we've spent over a third of our ARPA money already. Our budget, I mean, I don't know, I'm just,
Yeah.
so much money I
Yeah,
can
that's fine, let's go,
I'm not,
Yeah.
this is a discussion, I'm good with
I'd
that.
like to know what the culvert condition is. Is it,
Well, I just assumed because it was on our list for a project that it needed, yeah.
Well, when do they have to have an answer?
What's
but they need to as soon as possible because he told me this 2 weeks ago and we had a 3-week delay between the meetings. So I asked him if we would be okay with another week and he said yes. So he's been waiting.
I would see if he could wait to do a hydraulic, or not a hydraulic study, to have somebody kind of look at it. Have Randy look at it. He would know how good it looks, or more, you know, him and Morris.
Morris, go look at it.
So I took pictures of it and I felt like it was not in a very bad disrepair. I know that the ends of the culvert are corrugated steel and they've been extended out, so that's new. What you see on the outside is new. What you see on the inside is not. It was I can't remember. It's all of the culverts on North Road were put in place around the same time in that area. And
1962,
so we're
I
actually
say when they
replacing.
built the road, so that was,
60 or 62, somewhere.
so, you know, they're at their lifespan.
Yeah.
But that's a 30-foot dig.
Yeah, it's about
Least.
25, 20.
can we ask for the funding then, if we run out of funds, say we don't want it?
So
Can you return the funds? That's what I'm thinking, the same thing you
Yeah.
want. Say, yeah, we'd like to do this, you've done it, you can return the funds, right? Say, we can't come up with the other money.
My guess is it's a reimbursement
Right, you're
program,
not gonna get
so
it out, it's not gonna
they're not gonna give you any money to
Right.
spend that money.
Yeah.
So
Right.
So it's next year you say, no, you know, we can't afford it, and we decided we don't.
Or we prioritize the one by rounding Danny more than that one.
build it into your budget the next couple of years. I mean, if it's not gonna happen until 24,
Right,
yeah,
you know, get the hydraulic study done through the state and
yeah, that
plan
makes sense.
in the next couple budgets.
and by then the cost of the culvert is gonna be a lot more expensive, so
Not necessarily.
no.
This inflation thing,
It's
maybe,
gonna stop.
a lot of things are gonna come to a skid. When those interest rates start pumping up, a lot of stuff's gonna start dropping in price. So right now, building products have dropped in prices. Trucking is killing it to get them.
So if we say yes, how long do we have to spend the money?
It'll be 2 years, so it's not, we wouldn't do the project this year or next summer, it would be the third summer, 2024. It's the same project, the same grant source that we're doing the other North Road project that's gonna be for next year.
Yeah, I'd request the funds, and then if some reason we can't do it, we just don't take the funds.
You know, you just return the funds.
Does that, if we say no today, we got 3 years to start over. If we take the money, give it back in 2 years, and then we got 3 years to start over from then.
Yeah,
And it's it's 25 less than we asked for. I don't know,
it is a gamble if you don't take it tonight that you might not, it's 3 years from the time, you know, it is something to consider.
Will this impact like a paving grant thing? Is that, those separate programs, aren't
The Class 2 paving and the structures grant are both issued through the district, but they're two separate programs and they each have their own
they?
cycle.
Rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's, like you say, if it's just 25,000 less than what we asked for, you know, one in the hand's better than two in the bush, so. like you say, if you can't afford it in 2 years,
Or if you haven't spent all the ARPA money in 2 years.
you know, maybe they'll have a little bit extra money.
Maybe we'll have to do that. Yeah. I would grab
No, lock it up. That's, that,
Okay, so I can contact him and say that we accept the offer and get that going.
you want a motion for that, or?
I mean, it's fine if you want to, it's not necessary, I don't think. The only other part is that we need to, what's the, hold on, let me get this. We need to, sign the grants and aid intention to participate this week in order to lock in for, I think we got 42,000 for next year instead of 20,000, which would be a little over 20,000, which we got this year. So, if we accept that money, if we want to accept that money, we need a motion that we accept the grants and aid funding for this year, offered this year, and then there's a sign that we need to sign for it in order to leave.
What's this money for what purpose?
This is the money that goes toward, segments, like, improving segments of our road around hydraulic, issues. So right now, the Juware Road project with all the ditching and improving 12 segments of that road so that, all the hydrologically connected segments can flow in the correct manner. That's this grant. So this grant, we would accept it for this year. We accept it this year for projects to be determined next year.
Is that FEMA, AOT, where's the source?
Oh no, this is V-Trans.
Okay, V-Trans.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically stone lining ditches connecting to other stone lining ditches.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Sure. Make a motion to accept it.
I'll second it.
And,
All those in favor?
Aye.
and that's that. Then the signing is only just one of us, so.
So this program started through DEC as a pilot program. And they did 4 years as a pilot program and then transferred it to V-Trans starting last year. It's a guaranteed grant program. So basically this is just a letter of intent that you want to participate, and then you're automatically enrolled in the program. The dollar amount that each town is given is based on the number of miles of hydrologically connected road segments. So I just pulled up the sheet. So Fairfield has 40 to 45 miles. So your award is $42,000. Your local match is $10,500 for a total project cost of $52,500.
Can you use in-kind funds?
Yeah. Yep. This is one of those that it's not a competitive grant program, and as long as you sign.
Really, there's no match if we work.
There's no doubt.
There's really no match if we work with them.
Correct.
Kathy, any feedback from remember we were talking about our little conversation with the IRS?
Oh, yes, it's cleared. All at zero. I was able to connect with somebody. We found out that I was able to find a person to actually, I sent them, I emailed them, and I faxed them, and then I found a person and I emailed it to her, and it's all done, it's all taken care of.
Wow, great.
And we
Congratulations.
just received the reversal bills that say
Good.
zero across the
That's
top.
great.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
I mean, like, not to interrupt that, but those grants like that, those stone line grants are, you know, that's good, cause they're gonna be more and more, they're gonna have to do, I mean, it's just like he was talking about, you know, erosion by the pond, I mean, this is all that new stuff that it's, if you can get it, you can take it.
Yeah. Especially if you can do the in-kind match.
So it's nice too, this year, prior to this year, you couldn't, gravel for the top of the roadways was not an eligible expense. Starting this year, it's an eligible expense, which is huge.
Yeah.
You know, so not only can you put the stone in the ditches and you can top the road
And
with
get some
gravel,
grade on the
get a
road
good
and-
grade, get a good crown, so that's huge.
Not many dirt roads in Fairfield, so we don't have to worry about gravel.
Just watch it down the hills.
So that's all I have, if you wanna go into executive session.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to go into executive session to
You wanna,
talk with Jonathan.
Discuss.
like, you approve the warrants in the minutes?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve the warrants, so we get it done with.
Is there a second?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And you did the minutes?
Yep.
So what you, the dog issues and all that, or
We should do the dog in executive.
Oh, yeah.
the, okay?
Dogs always in executive. So we're going into executive session now. Personnel, right?
Yes.
I think Ron seconded it.
He seconded
the
warrants?
And the executive session.